Now, a few months ago, we went to the Tampa RV show and met Lonnie with Showhauler. We were really impressed with the unit there, and I know we've been talking about downsizing, but we love Super Cs and we really love the safety aspect of them. Lonnie was telling us Showhaulers happen to be one of the safest RVs on the road, and invited us up to the factory to take a tour, walk around, and actually see why they are the safest RVs out there.
And the really great thing is they're actually going to let us film the factory tour so we can share it with you guys. We've been on a couple of other factory tours, and when we contacted them in advance about filming, we were told we couldn't film. So yeah. I'm really excited to check out their factory and see what cool things we can find. Apparently
these are supposed to be 100%, almost 100% customizable. So any size you want, length, height, you know, all the different options, the cabinets, the colors, the tile, even the chassis that they use can be completely customized to whatever you want. And we're really curious to see what's in there because, you know, we may have to reconsider going smaller. Hey, if we can get an expedition vehicle, I'm all for going bigger. Let's see what they can do.
Hey Joe, welcome. Hey. So you're gonna come and take a tour of us, huh?
Uh-huh.
I'm glad you came by. It'll be fun. So this is how we start our whole production. It's gonna be, well, this just came back from Morite. Okay. Morite, what we do is we send them an actual bare frame. The cab is not cut out, bare frame. And then you're gonna have, what they'll do is they go with Morite and they powder coat everything here that's attached to the frame. This is all powder coated. And then it's wet painted from the outside compartment boxes and down. So it's all solid now. Now it'll be unibody construction together in the front. We have airbags in the back for the air ride. In the front, we have to dismount the air ride of the cab, but we have air ride seats, so you still have a very smooth ride. So then what you're going to have then from the inside, so our wiring isn't exposed, it's an ABS, inch and a half ABS pipe that goes front to back. So all the wires coming from clearance lights or outside compartments and stuff will run through a pipe, so it's not exposed to the elements and that kind of thing. So there's nothing outside that's exposed. Your holding tanks will go right here, all the way across. And everything else, your water and everything is above, inside. When we go to shows and stuff, they'll go in with our air ride seats. Most RV people haven't seen them, so they go in and sit down and go, oh wow, these are nice. and it really is wonderful because you can adjust it to anything you want. Whether if you're bigger like myself, you know, you can have a nicer, cushier ride. If you're like you can have it stiffer, whatever you want. Okay, so what we're going to do is when it comes back, they're going to cut out this wall and cut out the roof, so it's a stand-up walk-through. And then what we do is we put a fiberglass front cap on it, but we still have our steel frame, the fingers that go out front, so you still have this whole steel frame construction, and then we solid mount the two together. Okay. So it's still unibody, all one. Now, is leaking a concern? Well, it's always a concern. Yeah. Anytime you put a hole in anything, it's going to be a concern, but we have, you know, we've actually mastered that now. We don't have much caulk, it's all seals. So you don't want caulk because caulk you have to replace or it can go bad. So everything now is our rubber seals. So yeah, leaking is you know, it can happen, but it's very few and far between. It's not that. Okay, so with this big heavy duty chassis, we also do a very heavy duty leveling jack. These are from Quadra Bigfoot. Yeah. Quadra Manufacturing. They're a 14-inch pad. They will handle 17,000 pounds per jack. Oh wow! So you can jack up this side, and if you wanted to change a tire, you could. So you can actually lift this off the ground then? Absolutely. We can lift them all the way off the ground, the whole thing. Okay. Pretty much our name to fame. What makes us different than pretty much everybody else in the industry? We have a steel jig set up here, so everything's square walls. Everything comes out. They'll start out like they're sawing up for all the next coats. This is what they're going to end up making. Going to have the 3 sides, 4 sides. So they're building each one of these sides on that jig? Correct. Okay. Individually. So they'll do a side wall, and it's all steel tubes. Everything's got to be 1x3 tubular steel. Anywhere there's a door, a window, a frame, even for a water heater cutout, anything. Okay. You'll have that. And then everything is 16 on center. And if we don't have it where it's a steel, the big frame, it's going to be a hat post, a steel hat post. There's no screws on here anywhere holding this thing together anywhere. Okay. All welded? All welded. Everything's welded. So it's solid as can be. This is Yeah, that's pretty solid. And probably the biggest thing you want to see, like even there, if you look, go up on here on our radius,
Yep.
how thick the radius is. The biggest thing is a radius is stronger than a square on a square edge. So on a radius, like this thing was so strong, I actually had one out in California. A car ran into the side of it, they went off the road, and it rolled over right on the slide out, right in that area.
Yep.
But it still hit the top of our frame as it rolled over, and it's still straight as an arrow. I mean, straight as
So
can be.
the actual RV frame never bent?
Never bent. They actually pulled it back off to the road, and he drove it home, and it's running to this day. Thank goodness the two girls who were in it were ducked down, and they did get out, so nobody was hurt. There's not very many RVs in the world that can do that, and still crush a car, get back up, and on our weakest link, which is our slide out. Okay, so the steel is extremely thick, and it's all tubular steel. Anywhere that there's going to be any of these problems, even on our slide outs, there's a steel header. We don't do a full wall slide like a 17, 18 foot. We just believe in the structural integrity of our coach. Needs to have something maybe 14 feet, or if we did two side by side, there'd be 18 inches between them, so we still have the structural integrity of the coach.
Okay.
Even our roof, our ceiling is 1 by 1.5 tubular steel, 16 on center. And anywhere there's an air conditioner frame, it's going to be double frame. Even like now, this is going to have awnings up on the roof. So if you see, there's actually a steel plate going front to back, where besides our steel beams, so we can screw right into it. So even if the awning is out, it's not going to be coming loose of our vehicle.
Okay. We've done a few other factory tours.
Yes, sir.
This is the first time anyone's actually let us into the factory with a camera.
Oh, yeah, we don't mind. We're old school. We're different.
Okay.
We believe that structurally wise, we're probably one of the strongest in the industry. So letting people learn that there's different ways of doing things and getting a stronger approach to motorhome, and for longevity. This won't be rattling down the road in 10 years from now, because we believe our welds will last longer than screws that hold walls down.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So as far as the safety aspect of this is concerned, how does it compare to, the diesel pushers or, Class A RVs, things like that?
Well, we're a diesel puller. Our engine's in the front. So if our engine's in the front and we have real steel frame bumpers,
Yep.
And I'll show you down the road a little bit later, but we actually, if you hit something, it's not a windshield. It's not right by your feet. There's no front bumper on the front of a diesel pusher where we have a steel front bumper. So something you're going to hit, you're not going to have cabinetry coming down or being in your way right away. You're not going to be the first one of the accident. It's double frame rail, so we actually have a C-channel inside of this, except for right where the hitch stays on. Everything else is double frame rail all the way through. So we're not 9 inches, we're almost 11 inches, and there's a C-channel inside of it. So
I would hate to be the person that runs into this.
yeah, this is real steel. This is not something that's going to be. And if you hit the back end of our 40,000 pound hitch, you're done. I mean, you're stopped. So then, also, our next thing is we have a one-piece floor where people, like some of the motorhome industry, vacuum bomb the walls. Like they'll set the vacuum bomb the wall, set it down, and then on their steel frame, on their steel floor, and then they bolt it or screw it to the floor. Well, we actually weld everything, and then our floor is vacuum bonded, so it's one piece front to back. So you'll have corrugated plastic on the bottom, and then you have the Luan, aluminum frame, 16 on center, and again, you're going to have the one-piece flooring all the way. So all we have to do is slide this whole floor in, screw it down to our steel studs, our steel flooring, and so you don't have squeaks and rattles and floor crackings. And so now another thing is, see down the strip down the middle, there's a 1/2-inch structural board going down the middle, because we want our roof to have some kind of an arch so water will run off, say from the condensation or something. What you're going to have is down the middle, you're going to have a 1/2-inch OSB board, and then our 4x8 sheets will go this way. So it gives it a crown in the middle, and the air conditioners and everything will set in the middle.
Got it. Now, what is the roof actually made out of?
It's one-piece aluminum. It's actually over there. It's a one-piece aluminum 030, and it goes one piece on the back, so there's no seams, and it's not fiberglass. You don't have to worry about it cracking. Only thing we do in aluminum is our slide outs, just for less weight. Anyway, I wanted to show you our holding tanks.
Okay.
Our holding tanks are 72 gallons each.
Oh, wow.
Whether it's gray or black. So it's going to go all the way through. Like our holding tanks go left to right.
Okay.
So if we need to put a toilet over here over there, anywhere we can put it anywhere we need to. So it's have 144 gallons of waste.
Wow.
So then, like our insulation, you're going to have the blue board insulation.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to fit. What we do is we put the blue board. It'll go between these rails here. It'll be tight fit sitting in here.
Okay.
Okay. So that's one form of insulation. Okay. We have another gentleman that wanted. He's again going to Alaska, so we put spray foam in here, and then what they do is they don't have the tape on, so they grind it off. You know, so it's completely packed wall to wall.
Okay.
Even the floor and the roof was done the same way. So it's all spray foam insulation.
So you even have options in terms of how to insulate these.
Oh, absolutely. Even underneath, if you wanted the floor insulated, we actually have three inches of blue board that can go underneath here to insulate the floor before we put the floor in. So again, yeah, it's up to you.
That's great. And how do these, in terms of insulation then, how do these do in cold weather? Because with ours, we only can get to a certain temperature.
We actually have one, again, the same gentleman, it's in Alaska. He calls me up and he goes, Lon, it's 35 below zero. It's a 65-mile-an-hour wind, and he's out in his toasty show hauler, is what he said. And that was a quote. Again, you have to be, he's snowmobiling.
Yeah.
But he has, again, the blue board insulation below, the insulation on the walls. Because we're 2 7/8 thick, the blue board is huge for sound insulation. And then with our wall being so thick, and then the insulation, the bubble wrap insulation on the inside,
Okay.
and the structure board, and an air gap, and then a wall, it's extremely quiet.
Now, talk to me about the structural board, because when we've looked at a few other coaches being made, the stuff they're using seems to be really thin and like almost like you could put your fist through it.
Right. The structure board on the side, it's 7/16.
I think this is my,
Are you having fun?
yeah. This is my
He
favorite.
really does that. He does that all the time. He's like, what is this doing?
I mean, if you're going to consider one of these, you really got to test the stuff.
Now moving down, this is where we skin it, and what it is, there's 2 bald guys standing here, looking good. No, anyway,
We do have the same hairline.
I know.
I actually think you have more hair than I do.
I do, yes. We're 063 aluminum. We're taped on, so you can see, looking at this angle, we're not a flush wall. Like it would if you did laminate walls and then you screwed it down or mounted it somehow to your steel. So what we have is an overlap of aluminum, 063 aluminum. So you'll have a little bit of a gap here or a seam, and you'll see it going this way. If you turn and come from the front and going back, you don't see the seam. But that's the only difference between us and a vacuum bonded laminate wall.
What does this look like when it's painted?
It'll look painted, you won't see it. It'll kind of hide itself because it'll fade into the paint.
Okay.
So you won't see it so much. Like if you're driving down the road, you would never notice the difference. But it's real thick, so it's solid. With the blue board in here, you can sit here all day and hit it, you know, as solid as a rock. Being that it's not laminated and it's taped on with 3M tape, it can expand and contract with the heat, so it can breathe going up and down the road, or if you're sitting parked.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and it's still sealed. It'll breathe with it.
Nice.
Like when I was showing you with, like, there's no screws on here anywhere holding this together for structural. These screws here are for the hinge of our outside compartment doors, and it gives it a nice clean look all the way through when we put a cap over the top of it. But that's only the screws there.
Got
They're
it.
not for any kind of structural strength. The metal goes up inside of an S-lock, our radius cap. It'll go inside there, so it stays at the top. This mounts the bottom, and the 3M tape holds it on the side.
Nice. And how, like, let's say you got in an accident or something happened with these.
What we can do, 1 or 2 things depending how bad. If it's just scratched up or dented, you could do it like you would a car.
Okay.
You know, Bondo it, paint it, or whatever you want to do. If not, we have a tape remover from 3M. It's a liquid, and here and paddleboard it and pull it right off. Pull the whole panel off, throw it away, put on a new panel. So what we do is, this is a galvanized box. It's a sealed galvanized box you can put inside of here, but it's still steel below it. It's still steel frame below it. So it can slide in and pull out. If you had any kind of problems, we can pull it right out. But this way we can get to our wiring and get to everything real easy. It's now the difference between us and say a diesel pusher is So there's downfalls. Now we're 26 inches tall and 26 inches deep, and we can hold anything, but we can't go all the way through because we have a drive shaft going back.
Ah, okay.
But we can go all the way past through behind the tires.
Got it.
You know, anywhere that's behind there's no drive shaft, and we can go all the way through.
So you're a bit limited on storage space when you compare to a DP.
When you're going, yes, all the way through,
Okay.
the long stuff, unless it's going to be in back. Strength-wise, we can handle anything.
One big difference I noticed between this and a lot of the DPs I've seen is the DPs will have the double axle or double wheel axle.
They're a tag axle.
Yes.
But we are a tandem axle, meaning that we actually have the front axle is going to be a drive axle.
Okay.
And then if you want to lock it in, if you get stuck or if you're in mud or something, you can lock in, there's this button up on front, and you can lock in the rear axle. But there's actually 8 tires back here. You know, so these 4 back here on both, 2 on both sides, can actually drive you out. Now the bad news is we don't have a lift axle. It's not a lift axle, so your turning radius is going to be a little longer because we can't lift the axle.
Have you ever taken one of these in snow?
Absolutely. We actually have a gentleman up in Alaska has one of ours, and he actually put a snow plow. He has a Western plow on the front of it,
Yeah.
because he has a long drive, and he can actually plow his drive in the middle of winter. And that's not a joke. It's on our Facebook page. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Now onto our slides. We do a lot of different slides, whether the 2 13-footers, a 14-footer, a 13 and 10. We can put them side by side, and
Sure.
you know. But the biggest thing I want to show you is, first of all, we do not do flush floor slides. We'll do slides like it again. It has a raised floor, but the reason we do that is because we have a motor. The motor is inside. It's electric. It's not hydraulic. So what you're going to have is 2 gear drives, you know, regular turn drives. So when this motor goes, it has a shaft and a drive shaft over here. If you would happen to break or the motor dies or something, you can still go home. We have an outside plug in the slide out.
Okay.
You can pull the plug. We give you a crank. You can crank it, so you can always go home. It could still be broke, but at least you could still travel. Even if you're on a 3-week vacation or something, you can always still bring it in and out.
Okay.
It's not something that you would be broke and it's done.
Now you said all of these are aluminum frame, whereas the trucks
Right.
are all steel.
Yeah, everything we do is aluminum frame for the slide out. It's only for weight, so the motor doesn't have to hold as much weight going in and out, so we can put more furniture and heavier things on the slide out, so it's
Okay.
easier going in and out for the motor. So I'd like you to see this is our stain room. This is our next thing, our name to fame, is that we actually build our own cabinets, stain our own doors, so we can build anything to make it easier for us to do custom. We don't have to have somebody else ship it out. So what they're doing is everything in here is stained, lacquered, clear coated right here. Being in our cabinet shop, I just want to let you see on our drawers, all of our drawers are dovetailed, meaning they're not just 2 pieces of wood stuck together and stapled. Go check your motorhomes.
Okay.
When you're out looking around, even high-end motorhomes, these are dovetailed, so you couldn't sit here and do this all day and try to pull it apart. So if you just think about it, you're taking a beating going up and down the road, where you're pulling on this hard.
Yeah.
If it's just stapled together, staples will pop off. This will never come apart.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's solid wood. So it's but again, a lot of people don't see this stuff when they're looking around motorhomes. They just see the fancy lights, the pretty chandeliers, and that kind of thing. Where this is the important thing. It's like even our balances are real wood. It's not, you know, it's a sculptured board. Everything is sanded and done right here before it's stained and coated, and everything is custom built here. So you don't see 8 or 10 kitchens or cabinets sitting out here, because everyone has to read a blueprint and do it so that, you know, perfectly square to match everything that goes into each coat. Whether it's a 18-inch cabinet, they'll go in and make sure that 18 inches, even if it's on the print, it's not 18 1/4, that'll actually custom fit for everything. So you don't see a lot of cabinetry sitting around. It's built and it goes right in. So everything is built right here off the jig, so it's truly square, and everything is real wood. It's real, like this is real oak. So it's real oak, whether it's oak or maple, everything is built right here. Even our window rings around the front of the window, most people just put a valance over the top and then hide the window, or you'll still see all the black and the screws of window frame. We actually have a window fascia, so it's all real wood. This actually is cut out of a piece of solid wood, formed, stuck on here, and glued, and then this will be stained, but it's real wood. Every window will have this on it. Even our doors, just a regular bathroom door, bedroom door, is true solid, like this is solid maple. Oh, good lord. Yeah, this door is heavier than my house. A lot of people have pine stuff. This is really solid. So the difference is if you put hinges on here and you're screwing it into our solid oak doors, solid oak panels, it'll stay there. It won't become buzzing down the road or flopping there.
Yeah, I don't think we ever had doors like this in our house.
And that's all standard. It's not a, the difference upgrade would just be the stain.
Okay. Since these can be customized so much, what options do I have for windows?
Well, this would be your basic, this would be your frameless window.
Okay.
Like what people are putting a lot of, this is like the newer window where it's frameless, so it looks real sleek on the outside. And it's thermal pane, so it's flatter. Okay. So like if it rains, it opens like this. It's easier to access for rain.
Got it.
If you want to come down the next side, to me the older style window, but I think is a strong window, a lot less hassle, is the slider window. Double pane, so it's thermal pane, so it's a real thick window. You close it, wind goes past it, so you don't have to worry about the window going down the road at 75 miles an hour. You have to make sure it was latched. But if you have a window like this to keep it open during the rain, what you could recommend is, what I recommend is putting a window awning on it.
Got it.
So you still have it open, but you can have an awning for sun or that kind of thing anyway.
Now we love our windows, and especially Kate loves the big windows.
Oh, yeah.
And you sit on the couch,
More
look
windows.
outside. What are the options as far as how big you can go? And
Kind of up to you. We have certain standard windows. You're going to have like this size window in a bedroom. You can do bigger. The problem is if you do more custom, it's going to cost you a little more. But yeah, you can do whatever you want. As long you'll give up cabinetry if you're taking a bigger window. Again, we'll engineer it so it can't lose any kind of our structural integrity. So we won't allow certain things. Okay, so coming from the windows, now you're asking about how much window you want. Same with the doors.
Okay.
Our doors, you can have keyless entry. You can have, this is our standard door. It's 26 inches wide. We have people that want to haul their groceries in or do something, so they want a 30-inch door.
Okay.
It's not a problem. Again, you're just going to give up something on the inside. We have a gentleman now that's that's handicapped. He's in a wheelchair. We're making it completely wheelchair friendly. What we'll have is our standard door here, and then in the back it's going to have a 36-inch door, and then it's all going to be remote.
Oh wow!
So you can open it and close it remote. Like an air chamber. We'll open it up, and then it has a super arm lift. We'll come out, lift him up, put him in. Even the controls on the Cascadia will all be hand controls, so he can drive it completely by hand.
Wow, you weren't kidding about customizing.
Oh, very custom. And I really don't know of any other Class 8 semi chassis that's ever had a complete handicap accessible vehicle made. Ever.
Yeah.
Okay, like when we were walking through here, you saw a lot of the cab overs had a bunk over.
Yeah.
Like the typical Class C has a bunk over for your bed, another set of bunks up there. Well, now what we do for the Class A person that wants to stand up, walk through into the cab, turn the seats around, we actually made a fiberglass cap so we can cut out the top.
Oh, nice.
Sets it down. We can paint it all whatever colors you want. But but now it's all unibody, so it's all we're actually mounted together. So the cab, so nothing on the fiberglass will break or crack. But normally they just put on a Class A, you put a shell up front. What we have underneath that fiberglass is actually 4 rows of steel framing coming down, and then the fiberglass will sit right to it. So even if something, like, say a tree falls on it or something you would have, we still have the steel frame underneath it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And it protects you if you ever have an issue.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're big in the trucking industry. Like if you have your own fleets of trucks, well, you can save your own money by just bringing us your own.
Do you do used chassis at all?
Yeah, and we also do used chassis. It all depends on the front axle weight. It's got to be a higher rated axle than an over the road, but we can always just switch out the axle. But yeah, you'll save a lot of money because these are million-mile trucks. These engines will go 1,000,000 miles. So if you haven't, like say a chassis, like you've been an over the road truck driver, and you had your own truck and you've had it all your life, and it's got 500,000 miles on it. Well, it's still good for another 500,000 miles. Being an RVer, you're going to maybe do 10,000 or 20,000 miles a year.
Now, let me get this straight. You're telling me that not only are these they're essentially over-the-road trucks, but you beef them up.
Right. Yeah, but what we're going to do is our suspension is more for the RV industry. It's an 18,000-pound front axle with a heavier suspension, so it rides a lot smoother. and it can handle the weight.
How much weight can one of these hold on average?
Our average GBWR is 58,000 pounds.
Okay.
And this one here, it'd be like a 35-foot box or 45-foot overall, bumper to bumper. It'll probably weigh about 40 to 42,000 pounds. So 58, 42, 16,000 pounds. Joe, you can put all of your gold bars in there. The ones that she doesn't know about, take them outside and still have the weight. You'll be fine.
And what about towing?
Towing, these were made to tow, these were made to tow like 83,000 pounds.
Okay.
The chassis itself was to handle that kind of weight. We actually can tow 40,000 pounds. Wow. You don't have to tow 40,000 pounds, but you can. If you
So our little Jeep will be no problem.
Should be no problem.
Okay.
I would definitely recommend putting a camera out back to make sure it's still there, because you won't know it's there.
So essentially, you're so customized here that you can say whatever chassis you want, size box, slides, everything.
Exactly. Yeah. If it fits, first of all, it's got to be legal.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be. We're RVIA, so we have to meet all of their standards to fit in our box.
Yep.
Yeah. We can pretty much do whatever you like. Whether you want a car in the back and just living up front, 2 bedrooms, 2 bath. Big closets, little closets. You know, some people say, look, I don't cook. I want more living space, whatever you like. Yeah. I was talking about when we have a garage unit, this actually has got a 16-foot scissor lip. So when you touch these buttons, it'll go down and come out and scissor down all the way to the ground. So you can drive your car on it. Like this happens going to be having a Camaro in it. Wow. So you take it, you drive it on top, you can push a button, lift it up. Okay. Then what it does is he made it so the hood, because you have tall, it takes up so much room. It's an 18.5-foot garage.
Okay.
So he still wanted a bedroom. So the only way to get a bedroom was to put it over the hood of the car, so it can give you more height. So depending on the height, if you had, say, a small BMW sports car, the hood would be lower. The bedroom could be taller.
Oh, so you're actually building it very specific to his vehicle.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, and what he did is he has 2 different vehicles. So one was a 48-inch and one was a 52-inch to the glass. So we made it to the highest, so he could park either one of his cars underneath. It's got a garage where you can tie it down, and then your car can go underneath. The car goes underneath the hood of it, and the rest of the body will be in the back here, and then on top is his bedroom. So deciding how tall the bedroom is. Now again, it's not a stand-up bedroom, but it's like I think there's 48 inches.
Okay.
You know, so you can still get in. And then if you, I don't know if you can see it from in here, but it has a roll-up door.
Yep.
It's got a roll-up garage door, and it's a hurricane shutter door. Okay. So when you shut it, you can pound on it and beat on it. You won't be getting in, won't be able to break in the garage. Well, now we go to a different little beast. This is a 4x4 off-road. It's going to Alaska. That's why you see the stout. Everything on this one is extremely stout, more than normal.
Wow.
This is a real ladder. You can run up and down. This person can do hunting and stuff. But what I wanted to show you here is different size, besides different look, do different awnings.
Okay.
Like this is a Carefree, or a Dometic Weather Pro awning. So it has arms on it, but it's all remote and everything like that. So if you just come over here for a second, and you can go, if you want to put them up on top and have the Girard Vision, and it comes out like this, and it's a 2-stage awning. It will drop down. More slides on this side, so it can go over the top of them and still cover the door. There's Carefree, there's Dometic, there's Girard. We use Zip-T awnings. We can actually do all 35 feet.
No kidding.
One awning, 35 feet, and it goes out off the top like this, armless. So it's all in what you want and what suits your fancy and your budget. Like with this one, it came over. They wanted tile floor. So this person wanted a tile floor that looks like wood. So it's actually a porcelain tile that looks like wood. And it's really a very nice tile. So what they'll do is they put down this orange mat. Then they have like a flex mud that the concrete that goes on the bottom that muds it together, and then we'll have a flex grout that'll go on top of it once this is sealed. So it has that ability to move a little bit without breaking or cracking all of your tile or your grout lines. It's been holding up very well, which really always surprised me. You have your house moving down the road, and your tile stops from cracking.
And I'm guessing the limits or the selection for flooring is limitless.
Yeah, this person happened to find it at their local tile place, so we just sent it to us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to us. Yeah, you can have anything. You can have any look you want.
So if I find a beautiful tile from Portugal, I can ship
Send it to
over
us. Yeah, absolutely. No, we do. We have a lot of people that you can go to. You know, any of your favorite Home Depots, Menards, Lowe's, whatever, and find out what you want. If we carry stuff from our supplier that you can have, but if it's not something you want, like this person wanted his own look, so this is what he said. Okay, so we'll go from the floor. Now let's go to the ceiling. On the ceiling, you're going to see it's a drop ceiling, a fall ceiling. So they just started putting up the air conditioning vents. So everything is ducted, and it's a foil wrap so it doesn't hold moisture. And you'll have ducting goes all the way front to back. They've just placed them up there now, getting ready to hook them up to the air conditioner. So all 3 air conditioners are ducted together. So if you're in your bedroom and you're a light sleeper and you don't want your air conditioner to be on, you turn your front 2 on, and you'll still have air conditioning going into the bedroom.
Okay.
So that's really cool. But it's, again, with the drop ceiling, we can run wires. If you look, we can run wires front to back by just pulling out lights, vents, and shoot wires all the way front to back. So we don't have anything vacuum bonded, and it's so you also have an air gap for noise.
Now with the drop ceiling, what's the height for this coach?
This is 7'8" interior.
Oh.
Again, we're 7'8". Most coaches now are 6'8", 7 foot maybe max.
Okay.
Because we don't weeble wobble with our, being that we're on a solid truck chassis. So being elevated up higher, as long as we're under the 13.6, so I think we're actually 13.4.5 to the top of our domed satellites. So, because like when you go by a semi or if we get a lot of wind, it doesn't, you can still drive without being white knuckled.
Nice.
Yeah, we don't have that issue at all.
So Joe can actually do yoga in this one.
Absolutely, yeah, you could actually hang from those because they're mounted right to the steel frames. Okay, so if you want to see the beast, this is the International Lone Star. This is a gorgeous coach. I mean, it's got the manly stacks. This is just a big cow catcher up front. It's fun.
This is the one I would want.
Yeah, this is.
It's badass.
It is.
It looks.
It is.
Awesome.
It's a lot of chrome. As you can see in this building, when they come out of the Weld Shop, we do very different array of chassis. Like this one happens to be the Lone Star from International. The one behind us you're going to have is an M2 112. It's a 4x4. Yeah. So it's an M2. It's a business class truck. So 112 means it's 112 inches from the bumper to the back of the cab.
Okay.
And this is a Freightliner Cascadia. This is their normal over-the-road truck. Right behind it, you're going to have, these are brand new vehicles. All these are brand new. Is a 389 Pete, long-nose Peterbilt. So you can see how it sticks out. And we do it Volvo. So about any chassis, it's just a variety of chassis. Everybody always asks me, so which one would you have? And it depends on what I'm going to be doing. It depends on what part of my life I'm going to be doing. If I'm going to be retired and I just I'll probably do a smaller chassis. I don't need to pull anything big, and I won't need 45 feet. I may need 30 feet. Well, there's no sense having 600 horse if you don't need it. So it all depends on what part of the life is. Like this gentleman over here in the Peterbilt's a racer. He wants 600 horse. He wants that rah, 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 rah. I look and he can pull it. But you see on the back of his motorhome, he has glad hands, which is for air brakes on his trailer. He has a stacker trailer that has air brakes. So he wants to be able to go up and down the mountains as fast as he wants because he's a racer.
Right. Now, when we showed up for the tour, we saw a Red Bull truck out front.
Right.
What's the deal with that? Do you guys do
we do
commercial trucks too?
We'll do specialty vehicles. That's probably 10% of our business. We've done stuff for Microsoft, 5 for them. Red Bull here, this is their second one. That does all of their events. He'll go and set up their hospitality area. We do that. We also do like mammograms, vehicles, especially command units. So because we're tanks, we're overkill and we're steel, that we can do anything you want. So again, they come to us because they want longevity. We did one for NASA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's been, the specialty stuff is also another thing that's starting to come our way.
Awesome. This is the one I want.
You're in love with that 4x4. That is so you. You can be Alaska.
I'm taking it home.
There you go.
It's not sold, is it?
Yeah, it is.
It's sold.
Oh, yeah.
If you're the owner of this awesome show hauler, call me.
Okay, now as we're getting closer to the end, this just came back from paint today. We have Precision Paint as our paint, so it's got to be caulked and stuff. So some of the furniture isn't in because we don't put it in because of the paint dust and stuff.
Okay.
But you want to take one for a drive?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, this is fun. This is what makes, for 15 years, almost my 16th year doing this, it's still fun to drive. Okay, you ready to go for a drive?
Let's do it.
All right, it's all yours. Take it for a drive. Okay.
All right.
Let's roll.
You want to walk me through anything special here?
Yeah. Just wait. This doesn't have a park. There's a parking brake.
Okay.
So you're going to push that. Releases the brake. These are air brakes, and it's got a Ultra Shift Plus transmission. It's not an Allison. It's an automated clutch.
Okay.
So push your foot on the brake. Put it in D for drive. Hang a right. Let's go. See what you think.
Let's go.
And this will cruise about 97. You don't have to, but it can.
It feels nice to be this high up in the air ride.
And the air ride seats, you can go up and down and whatever you want.
Oh, this is comfy.
Yeah, and these are regular Freightliner seats. They're heated. They have a recirculating lumbar system, so you can massage your back up and down as you're driving.
Oh, the brakes are really good on this.
Yeah, this thing was made to stop 83,000 pounds. This is 40,000 pounds. When you lay on the brakes in this thing, it stops.
It's really like driving a big car. Yeah, I'm sitting higher up, but it's really easy to drive.
And that's probably the biggest thing that people want. Again, nothing wrong with a diesel pusher. The difference is everybody normally, with their cars or pickups, their wheels are out front. So when you're driving, this is like driving a big whatever you drive, whether it's a car or a pickup truck or SUV. Because you normally, when you're sitting here and you make the turn, your wheels are out front. You turn like you normally would with a car. Whereas opposed to a diesel pusher, your wheels are behind you. So technically, you're out in the middle of the intersection before you turn.
Yeah, that's true.
So this feels, you don't have so much the awkwardness of getting in and out and driving one to the other. And people always ask me, like, well, with the front engine, how noisy is it? So, when it's up to your 2,000 RPM, it's a little noisier in here.
Well, I've got this thing pegged right now, and it's not too loud.
Right. So, I guess it all depends. Surely it's not the same as of having a diesel pusher because the engine's in the back. But engines now, and with the insulation package we have on the firewall and on the hood, it's a lot better than it used to be just say 7 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, this is really nice.
And if you notice, we don't weeble wobble, we don't whale tail. It's not a windy day here, but it's a little breezy. But so you don't have to. I mean, you look like you're driving comfortably.
Well, this is going to be interesting because there's a big rig coming up, and whenever we pass a big rig in our coach, we even wobble back and forth. So I'm going to be very curious to see what it's like.
Yeah. So here comes a semi, a loaded semi with the. And we'll see how it feels here for you. There's no difference in what you had. This guy's flying.
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I've never seen anybody do that, but people always ask me the same thing. It's like, well, what happens when a semi passes you?
Well, there's the semi, and I could. It's
Nothing.
But good brakes, especially when Amish cut you off.
Yeah, when a horse and buggy cuts you off in front of you.
And I have to say, so we've been considering downsizing, not necessarily upsizing, but this is easier to drive than some of the Class B vans we've taken out.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my thing is I'm just so used to driving these things that I don't have that perception that you have. Just remember, if you break it, you bought it. Just thought I'd let you know.
Break it! Just kidding.
Somebody's gonna try to go around you. You can just make a turn here. Yeah, you just make a big turn here.
Alright, let's see how easy this is to U-turn.
Put it in R for racing. Backup camera's not like that?
Nope, it's on.
Oh, I can't see it there.
talking about service when we were in there, as far as getting work done. And I know, like with our RV, we have to take it to RV specific places to get work done as far as the engine and that is concerned. What about these?
So this would be a little different. That's another thing nice about us as opposed to a diesel pusher.
Okay.
Even though you're on a Spartan chassis or a Freightliner chassis, we're on a Freightliner chassis, so it's a regular semi truck, the front end of this. There's nothing different than you would an over-the-road semi. Classic example is I had one of these brand new. Took it for a drive. I'm heading south at 8:30 at night. I'm heading toward Indianapolis. It starts to rain. I go to hit my windshield wipers. The windshield wipers didn't work. You're driving down the road with 40,000 pounds and your windshield wipers don't work. You have to shut it down. I got in my little book. 6 miles behind me was a truck stop. I turned around at 8:30 at night and pulled in. There was a loose wire. They could pop the bonnet. Pulled the little guy up here. Tested it within a matter of minutes. In an hour and a half, I'm out on the road. By 10 o'clock, I'm out on the road still traveling.
Nice. So you can go into any truck stop and get work done, oil changes, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Tires, oil, belts, pull in. They can take care of it 24/7.
Nice. And as far as, I mean, the tires on this thing have to be really expensive. Brakes. How long do the tires tend to last? And
well, 7 years they say replace them
Okay.
because just a dry rot on the sides. But mileage-wise, your front tire, your steer tire is about 175,000 miles. Your rear tires, your drive tires, about 200,000 miles. Brakes, if you use your Jake brake or your engine exhaust brake like you should, you get about 300,000 or 400,000 miles on your brakes. Seriously, for your first 7 years, you should, I mean, unless you have some kind of an issue with the wiring or something,
Sure.
all you should have is once a year, take it in for oil change and have, like, again, you take it right into a truck service center. They'll do a DOT inspection, they'll grease all your Zerks, do everything, do an oil change so you know you're safe to go out on the road again. Yeah, great.
And what is the warranty on the Freightliner?
Parts of it, depending on, I mean, everything's different. Like the Freightliner, the cab itself is 1 year.
Okay.
The engine is 3 year, 360,000 miles. The transmission is 5 year, 500,000 miles. And then our Showhauler warranty is 2 year limited warranty. So anything we produced structurally wise would be 2 years.
Okay.
Now, if you had like all of your appliances and stuff, the appliance warranty would take over for that, like
Got
a
it.
Whirlpool or something.
Okay.
Yep.
Now I have a random question.
Yeah.
So if you're driving one of these, do you need to pull into the truck weigh stop?
Nope. Yeah. Everybody asks, since we're on a chassis, a semi-chassis, do we have to have a CDL? Do you have to pull into weigh stations? No. RVs are exempt. As soon as we have this, if you just had the chassis, like if I was picking up this chassis, yes, I would.
Okay.
But once we put a box on the back and you now claim it as a second stage bodybuilder, we give you a title that now makes it an RV, a recreational vehicle, you're exempt.
Okay.
You're exempt from any truckers kind of stuff. You
Got
now
it.
fall into the RV sector, but you have to go by RV laws.
Yeah. So if I know some states require a non-commercial CDL.
That's correct.
So yeah.
Yeah, so somebody over 26,000 pounds. Some have tandem axles. Some are lengthwise, anything over
Yeah.
40 feet.
The other thing, if we want one,
And you should. Yes.
We're saving up for
let
one.
me rephrase that. Once we can afford one,
Right. Okay.
how long does it take to get
That's a
one?
good point. You said affordable. So we're anywhere between 350 to 450,000.
Okay.
And we've been up as much as 500,000. But to get one, it takes 3 months to build. From the moment it comes in this Weld Shop door to the moment it goes out, it's about 3 months. And we're usually out 4 months, 4 or 5 months of production, doing one a week. So 7 months. If you
Okay.
say 7 months, from the moment you order to the time you pick it up, it'd be very close.
That's not for a completely custom coach.
Completely close, yeah. And it's something you want to take your time to do. It's not something you want to just pick off the shelf and drive off.
Yeah. Lonnie,
Alrighty.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming by. I appreciate it.
That was awesome.
You ready to take one home?
Oh yeah. I want that 4x4.
Me too.
Yeah. I think we both want the 4x4.